This is a presentation on the paraphilia Sadism by Emmeline Cheney and Lexi Tanner. These are some definitions of sadism. Merriam-Webster defines sadism as the derivation of sexual gratification from the infliction of physical pain or humiliation on another person. Likewise, WebMD classifies sadists as individuals who have persistent fantasies in which sexual excitement results from inflicting psychological or physical suffering, which includes humiliation and terror, on a sexual partner. The term sadism originated from Donatien Alphonse Francois de Sade, who is more commonly known as Marquis de Sade, and he is pictured on the right of the screen. He was a French writer of sadistic novels and was an advocate for sadism. He was around in the 1700s and fought for a greater sexual freedom without any type of government intervention. Because his ideas were more taboo, he spent a lot of his life in asylums and prisons. A very interesting question is what makes a sadist. While we cannot exactly pinpoint where this paraphilia comes from, we can theorize. One theory is irritability, which involves the dark triad. This includes Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. These traits, either together or separate, could result in sadism when passed from parent to offspring. Another theory is childhood trauma. This could be sexual, physical, or verbal trauma. Much like how we learned in middle school bullying assemblies, someone is bullying because they are being bullied at home. This could relate to the childhood trauma. Another theory is adaptation, and while this one seems kind of out there, some speculate that sadism is an adaptation of back whenever we were hunters and gatherers, and it helped us to slaughter animals whenever we were hunting. Finally, the last theory that I found was simply learning. This could be observational, watching someone else do something sadistic, or learning about it.
Demographics of a sadist. In a 2005 study conducted by Durex, the condom brand, 36% of Americans used masks, blindfolds, and bondage tools during sexual acts, although the percentage of individuals worldwide who used these tools was only 20%. This may be due to a cultural difference or different laws in effect in different areas. A study from 1999 found that 65% of university students had dreamt about being tied up. In cases of childhood sexual and physical abuse, generally the sadistic acts increase in severity over the sufferer's lifespan, and the age of onset varies greatly, but it typically has developed by early adulthood.
So how common is sadism? 1 to 2% of the United States population are sadistic. Depending on the criteria for the sexual sadism disorder, the prevalence of this may vary 2 to 30%. Surprisingly, less than 10% of United States sex offenders are sadists. However, 37 to 75% of those who have committed a sexually motivated homicide are. Around 6% of undergraduate students have admitted to obtaining pleasure from hurting others. This doesn't necessarily have to be in a sexual way. It could be from playing violent video games or humiliating other people. So while both males and females may have this disorder, it is much more common for men to engage in this with non-consenting partners.
Sadistic serial killers. One serial killer by the name of David Parker Ray is known as the most sadistic killer in history. He used sexual torture devices and tortured and murdered over 30 individuals in his toy box room. Another serial killer by the name of Lloyd Clark Fletcher of Australia began his sadistic sexual crimes towards women at the age of 14. A doctor of forensic psychiatry stated, "Sexual arousal, rage towards women, and a wish to inflict pain and humiliation upon his victims is what led Fletcher to his sadistic crimes against females." It was thought that if Fletcher's psychopathic sadism against young women could have been recognized sooner, young females could have been left unharmed. The case of Shanda Sharer also falls into a sadistic killer. She was only 12 years old from Madison, Indiana. She was tortured, beaten, and ultimately burned to death by 3 other young teenage girls who thought she was already dead by the time they burned her body. She was caught in a love triangle, and the female that was rejected had the idea to kill Cher.